Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the fourth round of the RRL GTR3 Championship in RaceRoom Racing Experience. We are here at the legendary Spa-Francorchamps circuit in the Ardennes forest in Belgium, and this is set to be a great race this evening. It's the first of two endurance races in this 8th round championship. 95 minutes of racing around this great circuit, with 15 minutes of qualifying coming up in just over 3 minutes. So get your snacks ready, get your drinks ready, and be sure not to go anywhere during this race because it will be a cracker for sure. This race also marks the halfway point of the season. After this race we have 4 rounds done and 4 to go in this 8th round championship. So let's have a quick look at the standings at this point before this Spa-Francorchamps race. We have Peter Backus holding on to his first place very firmly with 116 points. Robert Horvat trailing him 30 points behind with 86 points. Then Nemanja Manojlovic with 66 points. So Peter Backus setting some great results in the first half of the season, or the first 3 races at least. And let's see if Robert Horvat or his own teammate of Peter Backus, Nemanja Manojlovic, can take the challenge to him. There are more points on offer for this endurance race as a normal 60-minute race, so everything is still to play for, and after this race everything can be different. Looking at the team's championship, we have Let's Kick Some Butts racing team, as I said, with Peter Backus and Nemanja Manojlovic firmly in the lead there as well of that championship. Then we have 77 Racing and HM Racing rounding up the top 3 of the team's championship. After this week's race we are still staying in Belgium, going to Zolder in 2 weeks time, then Portimao in Portugal 2 weeks after, then Zandvoort, and then another endurance round at the Nordschleife to round up the championship. And it could go to the wire at the Nordschleife, so stay tuned. All the races will be broadcast live with commentary, so make sure to like our channel so you get notified of any future live streams or videos by RRLeagues.com. So those are the standings as the guys are rounding up their last practice laps. Pavel Nieri, race winner of race 1 at Silverstone, with the fastest time at the moment at 2:18.6. So let's see how that what that ends up being at the end of qualifying, if they can go any faster than a 2:18, which is pretty quick in GT3 cars around the 7-kilometer long Spa-Francorchamps circuit. Looking at last race results, it was Robert Horvat taking a commanding lead over Peter Backus and Radek Pavlacek. So a start to finish lead from Robert Horvat, never let it go, and taking 51 points away from that race, as he also took the pole position. We have 26 drivers on the server at the moment. Let's hope some more will join us, as we have 36 signups for this fully subscribed series. And let's see what that brings us in qualifying. Just doing some promo work for our other series as we head into the qualifying session, 15 minutes. We have 4 series actually running at the moment. We have the GT3 series that you are witnessing here. That's on Wednesdays every 2 weeks. Then we have our FR2 series on Sundays every 2 weeks. We have our DTM championship in R Factor 2. That's on Wednesday next week. And then we have the WTCC championship also on Sundays. So 2 races a week, 2 championship races a week, with some varying content in both R Factor 2 and RaceRoom Racing Experience. If you're not up to join any official championships at RRLeagues, or you just want to have some fun in our nice community, then don't be shy, just join us and get racing in our race club. Those are races in RaceRoom racing experience with free or very cheap content, and the next race is next week, Thursday, 4th of October, with totally free content, silhouette cars on the RaceRoom Raceway classic layout. So just head on over to our website rrleagues.com and join us there. Everybody knows Spa, but this is what the track layout looks like. So the race starts in the short run down to La Source de Hairpin, always up for some action there, so the 26 drivers will have to be careful to not get into any incidents there. Then through Eau Rouge, up the Radion, Camel Straight, then to Les Combes chicane, always a great spot for some action. Then down to Bruxelles, then Double Gauche or Pouron as we call it, then Fagne Campus and Stavelot corner, then a long flat out section through Corporal Frère and Blanchimont, ending up at the final chicane, another great passing opportunity. So 95 minutes of racing, some great passing opportunities, a great track, and 26 great drivers. That's the scene for today's racing event, as some drivers have started their fast laps. We are riding with Ralph Arella, or sorry, Pavel Miri. Let me just refresh that. Ralph Arella, indeed. In the Mercedes SLS AMG, he is our #1 ranked driver based on his last 20 race results, just in front of Robert Horvat. So let's follow him around and see what kind of lap time he sets to set the pace for this qualifying session at Spa-Francorchamps. We don't have any variable weather that will come into play in RaceRoom racing experience, unfortunately, so there will be no drama there. But in this series we are running some tire and fuel multipliers, and most importantly it's the tire multiplier that will give the drivers some headaches. It's a 3x multiplier on the tires, and we saw already last week or 2 weeks ago in the 60-minute race that drivers were struggling at the Hungaroring to make their tires last for 30 minutes. There were even some drivers trying to do a two-stop strategy that didn't work out, but 95 minutes here, so if people want to make it a two-stop race, they will have to try and stretch out the tire life, and to over half an hour actually at a time. So let's see if anyone is planning to do that, and if it will balance out with a 3-stop strategy, for example, losing a bit more time in the pit stop, but having some more confidence in the tires, as you will have to run about 25 minutes on a set of tires. So that will be something to watch out for. So we have Ralph Arella saying a 2:17.9. That's already quicker than Niri in the practice session. So the tone is set. Nemanja Manojlovic 2/10 behind him. Let's drive on board with our championship leader, Peter Bacchus, starting his lap, going over the Radion on the Camel Straight. Let's try it from the dash cam, that's a bit more visible. Hard braking into Les Combes at a 100-meter, 150-meter mark. Through the chicane, left, right, then stay on the left. Flick it in and on the power as early as you can. And then here into Bruxelles, brake as late as you can, get the car turned in. And then it's waiting to get onto the power and avoid understeer off the track. Then carry as much speed as you can through the main corner, then down to Pouhon, one of the most challenging corners on this circuit. Breaking down one gear for Peter Backus and back on the power as early as you can, keeping it in a tight line, and then taking the exit. Another right-left chicane. Fania getting onto the grass a little bit. That was not perfect for Backus. Oh, and almost tank slapper there as well. Taking some curb here, that's necessary. Then getting it turned in here and try to stay full power to get a good run down this long back straight through Paul Frere and Blanchimont corner, which I think is flat, it should be, and yes it is, for sure in qualifying, probably as well in the race. And hard braking for the chicane, getting it turned in, and watch out for the back that it doesn't step out, and then on the power as early as you can with the run down to the line. And can Backus improve? Yes he does, up to 4th position, 6 tenths behind Ralph Arella. His lap time still stands, so there's no weight ballast involved in this championship. Every car can drive at his own pace, at his own maximum pace, and as you have heard in the last few races already, we have a wide variety of cars, so it's not a one-make series, far from it. We have 16 different sorts of cars, old and new GT3 cars, Audis, Mercedes, BMW, Nissan, Porsche, etc. Ford we have as well. So a wide variety of cars, and we'll have to see which car is best on this track here. We heard on the forum that it's the Audis that are should be pretty quick here, so let's see if that is the case. Nemanja Manojlovic aborting his lap, and Ralph Arella saying a purple first sector, so he's trying to go even quicker. And as is mentioned in the chat, it's quite easy to pick up a drive-through penalty on the pit entry if you don't get 2 wheels inside of the white line, so that's another factor the drivers have to take into account when making their pit stops, which will be 2 or 3. I will suspect that they don't end up getting a drive-through penalty, because that will hurt you massively in this race. We should have the case that well, drivers should be taking it easy on the first few laps, so because it's a long race, everybody knows you can't win the race in the first lap, especially not a 95-minute race where tire wear, traffic management, etc. come into play. So that is for sure something to take into account, and that will be something that has been mentioned in the driver briefing before the qualifying sessions. So take it easy into La Source, up the Camel Straight, so you just stay in your position and then build up your pace and get to the position you are worth. So 5 minutes to go in this qualifying session. We have Ralph Arella still on top. Still 26 drivers on the grid at the moment. But we have Pavel Nieri, Ethan Kearley and Malte Schneider not competing in the qualifying session yet, probably due to either penalties or well, real life stuff maybe. Vlastimir Lukas has set pole position. Very sorry we did not catch that lap. He's in the pits now. Will be probably going out for one last lap, I would suspect, but he takes pole at the moment with 77 thousandths of a second in front of Ralph Arella. We have 4 minutes left, and that's not time enough to set another lap, because in RaceRoom racing experience, when the timer goes to 0, the session is over. So anyone not on a lap at the moment will not be able to do another hot lap. We have Robert Horvat setting 2 purple sectors. Will he take pole position at Spa-Francorchamps as well? Yes, he does. 4 tenths up on Vlastimir Lucas and Ralph Arella. So another provisional pole position for Robert Horvat in the Mercedes AMG GT3. Is there anyone that can take that away from him? Petr Pek is running green sectors in the Nissan. He's teammate of Vlastimir Lucas, if I'm not mistaken, so will probably be running the same setup, and they are both very quick. So let's see where Petr Pek ends up. He is improving on his own time. Up to P6, 1.1 seconds behind Robert Horvat. Robert seems to be on another flyer here. Purple first sector, 32 thousandths up on his own first sector time, and still going strong, a little bit wide here. Let's see his second sector time. That should be coming out of Pouhon, I think, where the second sector ends. Not going quicker, Robert Horvat, but I don't see anyone setting any sector times that would be faster than him. We have Albertini setting an own a personal best in the first sector, but nothing that will unsettle Robert Horvat from pole position, it seems. Peter Bacchus on a green sector. Can he make a good second sector? It's still possible. He's not that far back. 1.2 seconds on this long track is not a massive gap. Manojlovic goes up into second position. Peter Bacchus' teammate for Let's Kick Some Butt Racing team, going 3 tenths off Robert Horvat's pole position time. And Jim Britton in the Porsche. He's at the top of the standings in the recent form rankings. That's based on the last 5 races. So he's also one to watch. Although his results in the Porsche in this GT3 championship have not been really podium positions that he has taken. He has ran some good races, solid top 10 positions, but no podiums just yet in the GT3 championship for our well, triple crown holder of last season, Jim Britton. 20 seconds to go. Is there anyone trying to challenge Horvat? Bacchus up to P6? So improving on his own time, but not getting anywhere close to Robert Horvat. Ross Hockey setting personal bests, so also doing well in... Oh, and braking there because the session is over. So that's Robert Horvat with another pole position. I think he didn't run in the first race, but he did take pole position in all of the other races that were contested yet in this championship, as the drivers are gridding up on the run down to La Source hairpin. We see Vlastimir Lucas on the right, Ralph Arella on the left, Nemanja Manojlovic in front of him, and on the right Robert Horvat in the black and red Mercedes AMG. So 95-minute race. Some people still having to get on the grid. 95-minute race. This is a start. Let's hope everybody gets through the first lap cleanly and can defend his own position. And then we will have to see how the strategies, how the tire wear, the fuel management will play out at the end of this race. Timer goes down to 0. And we are green at Spa-Francorchamps. Manojlovic has a great start. I think he will take first position if nothing happens. He's on the inside for La Source. Looks to be clean. Manojlovic takes first position away from Robert Horvat. Quite clean there, coming out of La Source as well. Having a look further down, Jas Forsberg on the inside of Max Haas through Radio, or through La Source, Eau Rouge and Radio. Keeping it clean, a bit of a slide like Mirko Bortolotti last year in the real Spa 24 hours. Horvat took back the first position, and even Vlastimir Lukas is now in front of Manojlovic and turns in the Nissan, so Robert Horvat retook first position down the Camel Straight, better run through Eau Rouge and Radio, and Manojlovic down to third spot. A bit further back we have Peter Bacchus battling it out with Petr Pek. Bacchus on the inside here and taking the position. So Bacchus retaining his 6th position from the start, not too bad. And looking back at the field, it seems no big gaps are there, so everybody could make it through the first few corners, which is great to see. So the whole field stays bunched up. Through Fagnes for Robert Horvat. And let's go to the far back of the grid. Ross Hockey at the moment. And I will enable the driver in for Ross Hockey. Last position at the moment, but only 15 seconds behind the leader. So, and very close to the back of the whole pack, so everything is still possible. As we have Nikolai Hartup going off the track here and losing some time. Ethan Kearley waiting for him. It seems slowing down at least, as Robert Horvat rounds up his first lap of the race. Following Ralph Varela, he set the early pace in qualifying. So we have a group of about 8 cars battling for the first position. Then a small gap to Jim Britton. Yes, Forsberg in front of him. That's the start of a new group. And Horvat now 1 second in front of Lukas and Manojlovic. If there are any questions, please shoot in the chat box and we will try to pick up on that as soon as possible, as Nemanja Manojlovic spins it around. I think contact with Lukas. I was looking at the chat just now. That's a shame. And Nemanja Manojlovic uses his head and waits for everybody to come past, doesn't take anyone out to rejoin the track quickly. So good call from Manojlovic. There's still a long race to go, so he can still get into those points from a 19th position at the moment. Horvat 1.5 in front of Lukas at this point of the race. And let's have a look at David Dore. He has been involved in some great action in the last few races, in all of the races actually, and he is in 4th position at the moment, very strong. As I said before the race, the Audis look to be quite good here on this track, so let's keep an eye out on the blue Audi. And sorry for that, we had a small interruption in the streaming software, but it looks like we are back and on the same page, so sorry for that. And as we come back, the guys are going through Eau Rouge and Radillon. So, Peter Backus to the inside of David Dora. Will he just yield for that position? Yes, he does. Uses his head. It's a long race, and going onto the grass a little bit, but it seems like David Dora will live to fight another day for sure. He has Petr Pek right behind him. Let's just go through the grid real quick. We have Horvat, Lucas Arella and Backus, then Dora, Pek, Daniel Badcock, followed by Pavel Nieri, Jim Britton in 9th position, Max Haas, Pavel Moravec, Ludovic Nietzsche in 12th position, and Jas Forsberg, Chabot Albertini, Simon Fillingham in 15th position, the last one of the points paying positions. Then Thomas Struhar, Stefan Riedl, Nemanja Manolovic up to 18th now. Then Morten Roslev, Ross Hockey, Lucas Kolb, Aaron May, Nikolai Hartub, Xavi Ortiz and Ethan Kearley rounding up the whole field. 25 drivers at the moment. And here's Stefan Riedl in 18th spot. And he was battling it out with Morten Roslev, and he ends up in front of him. So good battles going on up and down the grid through Blanchimont for these two. Porsche versus BMW Alpina GT3. Again, we have Horvat checking out, it seems 2.7 seconds, and clear air for him for sure in this long race. Traffic will have an effect on the drivers at the front, so that will be something to watch out for. Backus up to P4, so gaining some positions from the start position he was taken. Nieri following Daniel Badcock very closely. Let's ride on board with Pavel from his splitter cam, following that nice Audi R8 GT3 of Daniel Badcock. Pavel Nieri with some up and down performances throughout the season. He took his first RRL win at Silverstone in race 1, one of the sprint races, but then could not really get that performance or keep that performance going in the next race. So trying to go around the outside on the chicane. He doesn't do that, but Daniel goes quite wide, so if Pavel can get on the power early... Oh, that was close. Let's go into television mode. Badcock defending quite hard. If he can keep it on the inside, he should be good for the run down to Eau Rouge. They are still side by side, and Nieri goes through. Now it will be the case for Badcock to get a good run through Eau Rouge here, then Radion here at the top of the hill. And it seems he has more downforce than Jiri. Doesn't really... can't keep it within the slipstream. Jiri trying to break that slipstream by going to the right and going back. But Badcock down to 8th position. But everything, of course, still to play for. David Torre, he's also still in a close battle with Peter Bacchus. So Bacchus got through, but it's not like he had heaps of pace in the back to get rid of David. He will have to work for that, as he has Arella in front, who is not too close to him. So he can focus on his own driving line and having a look in that rear view mirror from time to time to make sure nothing, no danger is coming from behind from David Dore. Vlastimir Lucas in 2nd position. He had some bad luck in the last few races, but at the moment he is where he is supposed to be, a very quick driver in our RRL drivers roster. So 2nd position behind Robert Horvat, but almost 5-second gap now. That's starting to increase quite quickly. We are only 12 minutes into this race. Through the chicane and on the power. Nemanja Manojlovic, I saw he was having some good racing. Of course, he was at the front of the field and dropped back after his incident with Lucas. Now he's crawling his way back up the field. Let's see if we can see if he has any damage. Doesn't seem like it. Everything at 100%. So he will be able to go full out over that left-hand bump on the curbs. Very, very tricky indeed. Not so good for the tires. So 14th position, that means he got past... Simon Fillingham was in 15th, but he's down to 23rd position, so he must have had an incident somewhere to drop down that far down the grid. Manojlovic behind Forsberg and Ludo Birnice, Audi and Porsche in front of him, and he seems to be faster. So let's just stay with these guys here and see what happens. Can Nemanja find a way through quickly, or will he be losing quite some time behind these guys? And that will probably halt his progress to go up the field, as the gap from Nietzsche to Moravec is 3 to 4 seconds already, so he has to try and get a good exit here out of Stavolo. I can keep it nicely on the power. That car is very planted indeed. Also Bacchus running in 4th position, so they have a good team spirit there, probably sharing setup and setups knowledge. Forsberg going wide. Manojlovic, if he can get the braking done correctly, he leaves space on the inside for Forsberg, but I think he got past. Yes, indeed, Forsberg slots in behind. I heard some kind of contact, but doesn't seem like that was really a lot. Forsberg not giving up though. Good run through the source, and he can be back on his rear view mirror. epic camera angle there. I'm not sure how strict the cut rules are here at the top of Radion, but I've seen a couple of drivers already go taking those white lines quite liberal. So we'll see what happens. Anyone getting drive-throughs or other penalties for cutting the track. Nemanja Manojlovic getting away from Jazz Forsberg at the moment. Let's have a look here at the front. Ralph Varela is still very closely behind Vlastimil Lukas, and they are keeping the gap at about 5 seconds to Robert Horvat. So nothing is lost for them yet, and very nice to see. We have the Mercedes in front and the Nissan, and the old Mercedes in third position. We have BMW, Audi, another Nissan, then a McLaren, Audi, Porsche, etc. Then Alpina, BMW. So very nice variety of cars. Of course, we have to consider, is Robert Horvat going all out here and trying to build as much of a gap as possible, or is he managing that gap? I don't think he has a lot left, a lot of pace left to take, but still it's quite close, and these guys are more or less battling each other, and they can more or less keep up with him, so that is a good sign. And as you can see, that whole top 6, top 8 more or less is still quite closely bunched together. 10 seconds for the top 7, and then a 5-second gap to Daniel Badcock. Max Haas and Jim Britton. Now, where did we see that scenario again? Indeed, it was 2 weeks ago in Hungaroring, and if I'm not mistaken, it was Jim Britton there passing Max Haas. Now it's the other way around, and Max is well with Jim already for about 20 minutes, so he does have the pace in the BMW Alpina to follow the Porsche and hang on to that position. Oh, Petr Pek, just as I wanted to focus on him, he goes off the track. Didn't really see what happened there. He's down to 8th position, and he comes out just in front of Jim Britton and Max Haas, so we're back to that same battle. Now, is Petr Pek up to speed? Ooh, very wide from Jim Britton, but is Pek up to speed, or will he have some issues with the Porsche and the BMW behind? It seems the Nissan has some good grunt on the straight, so no worries for Pek at the moment. If he can get the braking done correctly, yes he can, so that is lucky for him, down to P8, but still going, still racing, so that is very nice indeed. But now quite close. Will he have a look? It's mostly wise to stay behind here in La Source and then hang back a little bit, so you don't have to lift through Eau Rouge and Radion here, and then make your move up the Camel Straight for the braking into Les Combes. It was not ideal for Pek. Now Britton is within the slipstream. Can he make it happen? Pek going defensive. He knows Britton is there. This move is not on. Very nice downshifting sound from the Nissan GTR. If you have any drivers you want us to focus on more, please let us know. We try to cover, well, the close racing battles, mostly at the front. As I just saw, Fillingham also making his way back up the field, so he's also having some good racing, although he's not in a great position at the moment, still having some good fun. But if you have anyone you want us to focus on, let us know in the chat and we will we'll try to arrange that. Well, I will just have to click on his name. That's the thing, so it's not difficult, but we have 25 drivers on the grid and some great battles going on left, right and center, so it's not easy to focus on everybody individually. At the 1 hour mark we will go through the field once again and see where everybody stands. The gap at the front hovering between 5 and 6 seconds now. And looking at Peter Backus, ooh, he's not being left alone by David Dore and Pavel Njiri. That's an understatement. Good grunt out of that chicane. That's a real advantage to have here on this track. Good grunt out of the slower corners, so you are not vulnerable on the straight or down the straight. This section here, this will get tougher as the race goes on and the tires start wearing. It's 20 minutes into the race now, so the next 10 to 15 minutes will be quite crucial for these guys to see if they can keep their tires in the operating window or not. As we have Ethan Kearley and Lucas Kolb already retired from the race, it seems. At least Kearley is 5 laps down already, and Kolb is at least in the pits. I don't think they will be coming back into this race, which is a shame, but things happen, especially here at Spa. Looks like Backus has this under control, but there's no room for error. He's in 4th spot at the moment, and we must be honest, he is a great driver, very fast driver, and he is often on the right place at the right time, taking advantage of others' mistakes, and most importantly not making mistakes himself. So let's see if he can gain some more positions. The gap to Arella is well, I was missing that Backus was actually very close behind Arella, and so this is a battle better to be followed with the television camera, and that has allowed Petr Pek to get a bit of a gap on Arella, it seems. Peter Backus goes to the inside. Will he make the move? No, he doesn't, but Njiri on Dore. Looks like Njiri got through, yes, through La Source, got the position. So Njiri has proven as a very fast driver, the only one next to Horvat and Peter Backus to take a race win here in this championship up till now. So if he can keep it together, he is a serious contender for this race. Will he take 2 positions in 1 lap? No, he takes the braking easy and will fight Backus in one of the next sections of track. Here's that battle with Peter Peck, Britain and Haas. Not holding up. So it's Daniel Badcock. He's right behind these two groups. You have Robert Horvat at the top, then Lucas, Arella, Bacchus, Niri and Dore in a very close fight. Badcock in between, and then Peck, Britain and Haas having their three-way battle for 8th position. Then we have a bit of a gap to Manojlovic and Moravec going further down the field. Ooh, back to Peter Bacchus. He's right on the tail of Ralph Arella into the chicane. Try and keep it clean, boys. Oh, slide of Peter Bacchus. He does turn in. He gets on the power. Okay, this is a 3-wide action into La Source, and if Peter Bacchus plays this well, he will come out on top, because he can, well, use his track position to get a good run here. But it seems Arella is still in front of him, and will he go side by side with Niri, who will chicken out? Niri is a wise man and just lifts off the throttle and lets Peter Bacchus through. So very nice racing by these drivers indeed. That gives Lucas and Robert Horvat in front some more room. Oh, and Niri having a look, then Bacchus having a look on Arella. But no passes there yet. Let's focus on this battle and get into the cockpit of Pavel Niri and see that action firsthand from the McLaren 650S GT3. We did see Niri there backing out of a potential move, so he's really racing with his head, which is necessary in these longer races. He knows he has the pace. He knows he seems to be able to stay with Bacchus and Arella, so he's just biding his time. The gap to Dore behind is 6 seconds, so that gap has increased quite a bit. He can just take it easy, try to conserve his tires, not worry too much about banging doors, trading paint, etc. So some good strategic driving. We are nearing the halfway or the half-hour mark, so people will start to notice their tires going off badly. We had some talks of drivers getting a tire puncture at the end of the Silverstone of the Hungaroring race. Oh, Niri getting a good run there. Better straight line speed by the BMW. Nothing Pavel could do there, but some drivers told us after the race they finished the race with 3 tires, as one of them blew up. I think it was the left front, and that was after 1 hour of racing, so 2 stints of half an hour. What they will do here once we pass 1 hour and 5 minutes to go is well, unknown territory for these guys. So let's see what happens there. But most of the drivers, if you look here at the standings, most of them are trying to make this a 2-stop race. But it doesn't really look like they are holding back a lot of pace to achieve that. big move or big slide there by Pavel Neri. Well held, very well held, very nicely done. And you can see that the McLaren, as it's known for, that it is better in the traction through the turns, has a bit more downforce than we saw on the Camel Straight at the beginning of this lap. The sheer power of the BMW on the straight. Now again he's able to challenge Ralph Arella into the chicane. That's because he has a bit of a straight line speed advantage over these guys, or he's just running less wing. That's also possible. Again, he cannot pass Ralph Arella, braking for La Source. Will we see some action again going down the Camel Straight? This is a great action. And, let's keep an eye on the standings for people going to the pits. Like Manojlovic and Haas are in the pits. Yes, indeed. So Manojlovic and Haas are the first ones to make a pit stop. Arella and Bacchus, very nice driving, very clean, very fair. And still hard racing. Horvat, 7 seconds up on Lucas. Not a lot the guys can do about Horvat at the moment. All of the other drivers are continuing for at least one more lap. Really revving the shit out of that McLaren engine, as we can hear from the sound. A bit further back now for Neri. Let's look at it the other way around, looking back from Ralph Arella. Again, will Bacchus, he really has some good speed through here, and at the end of the straight there he gets very, very close. So that's Bacchus and Neri in. Arella continuing on for one more lap. I'm quite sure he will be coming in at the end of this lap, so let's stay with him. I have also Lucas, who has come into the pits. Horvat keeps going. So let's see what happens here at the end of the pit cycle. Let's quickly drive with Nikolai Hartog. He is battling very closely with Xavi Ortiz for 21st position, and these guys are having as much fun as the guys in front, and they are having a great battle as well. Now we are in the pit cycle. Let's try to focus on that a bit. The guys are still in the pits. Bacchus, Moravec, Petr Beck, Vlastimir, Lucas. Looks like Lucas is running, and Peter Bacchus, he's in front of Vlastimir Lucas. That means that he has gained a lot of spots there and a lot of time there on the pit stop. It's essentially, I think, 5 or 6 seconds even that Bacchus has gained, or Vlastimir Lucas has lost. So he comes out at the top of this group. Fillingham has not pitted yet. I think Max Haas is in front of Pavel Neri, so that's also a good call for him. Let's see Robert Horvat finishing this lap. I would suspect he will be coming in. Yes, indeed. Robert Horvat coming in, and we have 1 hour to go. Once the pit cycle here is over, we'll go through the field. And we also have Xavi Ortiz in the pits at the moment. Ralph Arella also in the pits. And David Dore as well. Daniel Badcock as well. Jim Britton as well in the pits. So all those drivers at the front coming into the pits. And then, well, the man to watch is Peter Backus. Behind the trees he is, but he is running. And this is, of course, Simon Fillingham in front. That's Ralph Arella's teammate. He will be trying to hold up Backus as much as possible as Lucas goes through, so he retakes his well, virtual second position if everything stays like this. But Backus is very, very close indeed to that second spot, so things are getting interesting. Let's see, Ralph Arella in the pits. Robert Horvat now coming out of the pits. Where is Vlastimir Lucas? They are still in La Source, so they didn't really get a lot closer to Robert Horvat. And Jas Forsberg, he has not pitted yet, I think. No, he didn't, but he's in second spot at the moment. So we have Lucas, Backus and Arella now. So Pavel Nieri has dropped back from this battle. He is behind David Dore, and Max Haas, who we see there behind in the green BMW, has done a great effort in the pit stops. And there behind we see David Dore and Pavel Nieri. So this is a nice overview of the race. The only one we are not seeing is Robert Horvat in front. He has a 15-second gap to Vlastimir Lucas. So it's especially Lucas who has lost the time to Horvat, and Backus and Arella having a normal pit stop and closing up on him. And Nieri and Dore, as Dore is not really moving, it seems. Oh, yes, he is, but he is behind Nieri now. So that was a position change. Well, with 1 hour to go, we can already say that it's Robert Horvat's race to lose. He has a 15-second cushion. He can take care of his tires, take care of his fuel, just focus on getting down those laps and counting down the time. But that battle at the front is raging on. Nissan and BMW, both cars punching a big hole into the air and having great straight line speed. Peter Backus gets in front of Vlastimir Lucas. Let's see what happens here into La Source. Lucas will defend the inside line, get on the power early as he can, and I think he's in front. No, they are side by side now. Who will be the smart one here, or will they go side by side through Rouge? Yes, Radio, yes, some bumping, but they make it stick. Great racing there. Peter Backus is still behind, but as we know, he has some good top-end speed at the end of the straight. He dives out, but opts against any move into Lecombe. So battle for second position is raging on, as Forsberg did make his pit stop. He has ended up in 15th position after the pit stops. And Max Haas there, I have a feeling he got a bit closer to these guys. As they are battling so hard, they are losing time. So that's another factor to take into account. Battles are great, of course, it's great fun. but it's not the fastest way around the track. So let's quickly go through the field for this race as we keep a quick eye. Well, let's just follow them through Blanchimont and see if Peter Backus is able to make a move. Ralph Varela might be hanging back on purpose. Might be thinking, okay, Backus and Lucas, from time to time they have an incident. I'm just going to hang back and see what happens. But well, it is an endurance race, and I think the mindset of the drivers becomes a bit different than in a normal sprint race. As we saw Peter Backus also taking it easy, not going for that risky move, but just biding his time. He still has 53 minutes to try and make it stick, or wait for that mistake from Vlastimir Lucas that will or that can eventually happen. I'm not saying it will, but it is very likely to make a small mistake in sim racing, and then if you are 5/10 behind, you will be able to take advantage on that. As they're coming up onto a back marker, that's probably Nikolai Hartup, I think. Or Aaron May, his teammate, moves out of the way for these three drivers. So very nicely done. Professional way to let the leaders past and lose a minimum amount of time yourself, because that's what you want in the end. Hartup is in 22nd position, not in a point scoring position, but still he is in the race. There's still a long way to go, so he might he wants to lose as less time as he can to end up as far up the grid as possible. Lucas keeping it together. So as promised, let's go through the field, and well, I can almost promise you there will be a position change in this battle while we are doing so. We have Robert Horvat at the front of the field. 18 seconds back is this battle between Lucas and Peter Backus. Ralph Varela is very closely behind. Then it's a 3-second gap down to Max Haas. And well, it's actually a three-way battle almost with Pavel Neri and David Dore. Now we have a 5-second gap to Manojlovic. Yes, indeed, Manojlovic is already up to P8. So fast stops by the BMWs, and back up to P8. He was in P18 at the start of the race after his incident. So good driving from him. Daniel Badcock, solid race up until now, 9th position. And a bit of a lonely race, but those are usually not the worst in terms of performance. Then we have Jim Britton, he's in 10th. Then Petr Pek is in 11th spot, Pavel Moravec in 12th, so everybody's still quite close together. Anything can still happen there. Then it's 10-second gap to Ludomir Nietzsche. Ross Hockey a further 10 seconds behind. And we have Stefan Riedel, Thomas Struhar. They are in a battle of their own. For sure, Thomas I didn't see driving here yet, so he must be one of the reserve drivers or a new subscription after someone has dropped out. It's a BMW Alpina battling the BMW Z4 GT3. Behind them we have Morten Roslev. Let's just quickly have a look if anything happens here. cleanly through a Rouge and Blanchon and Radion, so that's looking very nice. 17th spot is for Morten Roslev. 6 seconds further back is Simon Fillingham. Then we have Jas Forsberg, who dropped back quite a lot. He was a bit further up in on the grid. Then Albertini in 20th position, Aaron May and his teammate Nikolai Hartop, as Robert Horvat is trying to get past Aaron May, flashing his lights. That was probably not really how he wanted to see that, but everything happened fairly and cleanly, so good driving there by both drivers. And in last position we have Aaron May. He's the last one of the running cars. Non-finishers are Lucas Kolb, Ethan Kerley and Xavi Ortiz at the moment. So back to that close battle at the front. This is the closest on-track battle as well, and it is for second spot, so we need to follow that between Bacchus and Petter Peck. Let's take this camera shot, as the people in the chat like that so much, and I will take a short break to recover my voice, enjoy the engine sounds and the great racing by these top drivers in the RRLeagues GTR3 Championship. Oh, Bacchus going for the inside, but not making it, so drivers, I think they know I want to take a little break and keep it exciting for me to keep talking, but let's not do that. I will be right back in about 2 minutes. And we are back. Big cut there by Thomas Strohar. But he's still in that battle with Stefan Riedel And Hockey was battling for position, but he just let these guys through. Not sure why that was happening, but well, up to P14 and 15 and into the points for Riedel and Struhar. We have the battle between Bacchus and Arella, but also David Dore, as we can see, is having a great time. As Pavel Niri has passed these both of these drivers and has checked out, but trying to go there for the inside David, but there was no room. Oh, a bit of a tap there on the back of Max Haas. This is heating up quite nicely, as we see Niri here in the front of the shot, having a sizable gap, and Manojlovic closing down the gap to these two in front. So the fact that there are battles left and right from second position down is a good thing for the likes of Manojlovic, Badcock and Britton, because it will allow them to get closer again to the front and challenge for those podium spots in the end. That will probably be the case. Just as last race, David Dore has a missing right rear front light. Not sure how that happened again, but he did have a small tap with Max Haas just now, so that might have happened at that moment. Coming out of No Name corner, that's a great shot. And well, looking at Niri, he's really closing up on these guys, so they need to be careful, because he has shown he has the pace. He was quite far behind after the pit stops, and he's right back with these guys, so he has the pace. The only hope for him is that he's not taking too much out of his tires, because still 42 minutes to go, and well, he still has to make these tires last over 30 minutes and then make another set last over 30 minutes. So if you are forced to pit early in this stint because you have taken too much out of your tires, you will struggle at the end of the race, and you don't want to make another pit stop and lose well, about 40-50 seconds. So that is actually not an option if you want to take the big points away. You need to have the mindset to be able to well, take that all into account while racing a GT3 beast around this very difficult track, Spa-Francorchamps. So not an easy task for sure. Once Bacchus and Lucas start getting side-by-side action, you will see Arella closing right back up, and Niri will be right with them. So again, having a look, but yeah, that Nissan is also quite fast on the straight, so not a bit of bad luck for Peter Bacchus that he ends up having to battle with the Nissan, because other cars might have been an easier target for him. Let's have a look again to David Dore. He's still very close with Max Haas, and Manojlovic is ready to pass. So let's see what will happen here. We saw at the Hungaroring that it took Jim Britton, well, I think well over 15 minutes to get past Max Haas, so he knows how to defend He knows how to make that Alpina as wide as possible, as we see Manojlovic understeering quite a bit there coming out of Stavolo, so that's not a good sign for his tires. He needs to make them last for between 5 and 10 minutes still. Manojlovic going up the inside. And Dore is very, very slow. Not sure what his problem is. Let's have a quick check on the damage. No, he's not having any issue. He probably, yeah, he hit Max Haas and is waiting for him to get back. So 2 positions gained again for Manojlovic. He's now has a 10-second gap in front of him, and they're still battling here, and as suspected, Arella and Nigiri are right in the mix, so this will be fun to watch. Meanwhile, Horvat is 25 seconds up the road already. He won his home race at the Hungaroring with a 35 second gap, if I'm not mistaken. So, well, he has about 3 minutes to go to still make that happen, but that will not be the case. Almost 1 hour into this race, and it's still as close as ever. So it doesn't matter if we do 25-minute sprint races, 60-minute normal races, and endurance races of 95 minutes. The racing will be close from start to finish here at RRLeagues.com, and that's the same for this series, the WTCC series, which was incredibly close at Monza. The FR2 series, which also well, rubbered in the track for these guys at Spa not too long ago, and in the DTM series in our Factor 2, they are going to Monza next week on Wednesday. I must say, Lucas is doing a phenomenal job in keeping these guys behind, because the fact that they can stay this close to him means that they have the pace to go quicker. I think Peter Backus can drive quicker. So he's doing a good job in being quick on the right places on this track to make his car as wide as possible and keep that second spot. But of course, as the championship leader, Peter Backus, he has a healthy points gap, as we saw in the beginning of the stream. So he has enough to keep that third spot, take some good points home, and not to worry. He's not losing the championship lead in any scenario, I think, or almost not. So. At least if he's in the points paying positions, but yeah, he has to use his head. It's the 4th race of the season, so championship calculations start to have an impact. You have to drive with your head, especially in these longer races. So we should be coming up on as these guys are getting past. Oh my god, that was very awkward indeed by Ross Hockey. I think that was, oh, and that Well, no position changes here at the moment. Big slide from Bacchus, but that was very, very close, and not sure if Bacchus has any damage from that. But yeah, what was Hockey? Yeah, let's see. I think it was him. Yes. No, sorry. It should have been his teammate then, who did that. Oh, it's Albertini. So, well, he was probably not really looking in his rear view mirrors, and then found out there were 4 angry top level drivers behind him, and panicked. But that could have been a lot worse for these 4 guys here. Now this has let Vlastimir Lucas build up a little bit of a gap as the guys behind recovered from that incident, but it's far from over. And as always, Spa delivers, and as I was trying to say, we are back in pit cycle territory, and that will probably be the last of the pit stops. 33 minutes to go. It's an ideal time to dive in, take tires, and make your last stint work as well as the 2 before. So let's see if there's anyone diving into the pits at the end of this lap, or if they want to just go as long as they can and then make their last stint as short as possible, so they can battle with all of their power and tire wear. Let's see, Ralph Varela dropped back a little bit, and here is Peter Bacchus. So before the pit cycle, it seems nobody's really coming in. We have Horvat, Lucas, Bacchus, Niri, and Arella. Manojlovic coming out of the chicane. No, sorry, that's Forsberg. There, Manojlovic now coming out of the chicane has some ground to make up, but that's very much possible. The BMWs had a good pit stop time, so that can be an advantage. Then we have Badcock and Britain with Haas and Peck rounding up the top 10. Then we have Dora, Moravec, Nietzsche, Struhar, Riedel, Roslev, Fillingham, Forsberg, Hockey, May, Hartup, Albertini, who has retired from the race as well, it seems, Kolb, Kirli, and Ortiz. So, first one to get into the pits is Nemanja Manojlovic. I thought he was dropping back, but it seems it's not the case. No, we have David Dore in the pits. He's in 12th position at the moment, dropping back. Let's see where he ends up after the pit stops. So Ralph Varela did lose a position to Pavel Niri here in this battle, and let's hope this stays as close as it is after that pit cycle. Quite sure that Lucas and Niri and Arella are a bit afraid of how quick that Bacchus pit stop will be, because he gained a lot of time in that last pit cycle, and if he can do that again, he will be quite a bit in front of these guys. And as I said, he's very quick, so it will be difficult to catch him after that. Quite sure they will be coming in for tires at the end of this lap. Let's have a look at Robert Horvat. He keeps going. He wants to just pit when everybody else has pitted, have a good overview of the field and lead every lap of this race as well. It's also a nice goal. Lucas keeps going. Bacchus keeps going, and Jiri goes into the pits. Arella also keeps going. So will be nice to see what that ends up as a result. One lap earlier for Neri, and I'm quite sure that will start the pit cycle for all the other top drivers on the next lap. Some more drivers coming into the pits. Max Haas in the BMW. Nemanja Manojlovic is in the pits as well from 9th position. And Arella is closing up on Peter Backus. So Horvath going through Fanja. And Arella back with Peter Backus, so Backus is slowing down a little bit here at the end of that stint, because they had Neri in between them, and well, he can't fit in between them anymore here, so Max Haas gets going again, Nemanja Manojlovic got going again, Neri as well. So a normal stop for Neri, it seems. Max Haas, he comes out behind Simon Fillingham in 14th position. So will Robert Horvath pit? No, he will not. He keeps going, 28 minutes to go. A really long second stint there for Robert Horvath. Vlastimir Lukas, he has to pit and cover Pavel Neri for sure, and he dives into the pits. And as we said, be careful with that white line or you will get a drive-through, and that's not something you want to do. Ralph Arella keeps going, so let's see what that means. Let's have a quick look here at Neri. He's going through Pouhon. Still has quite a long way to go through Fanja until the guys get out of their pit stalls. Look, Peter Backus on the jacks, Daniel Badcock also in the pits. Neri now on the back straight, and Backus still on the jacks. Beck as well, waiting for his pit stop. Sorry, Lucas gets going again. Peter Backus still standing there, gets going now, loses a bit of time. And where is Neri? He's just coming up to La Source, so these two will be in front of him, so not the closest of battles anymore. We have Vlastimir Lukas in front, Peter Backus behind him, and then Pavel Neri, separated by about 10 seconds, those three drivers. Now Robert Horvath is finishing up his lap. Quite sure he will dive in at this point then. Or will he still keep going? Nope. Yeah, make sure to avoid the white lines and gets into the pits. Ralph Arella is 30 seconds back already, and Jim Britton also has a long second stint. So, pristine ACA ASP AMG GT3 car for Robert Horvath. Still, he is in the pits. Ralph Arella comes in for his pit stop as well, and it's only Jim Britton then who is still running in that top group of cars. He will dive into the pits here as well. Yes, he really stays away from the white lines. Very nice. I don't think there were any drive-through penalties. Couldn't see, of course, for all the drivers, but I didn't see anyone dropping back during the pit stops massively, or just after the pit stops, actually. So we have Vlastimir Lucas going through Pouhon, and we don't need to focus on Robert Horvat. He will come out in front. He has a good pit stop, and he keeps his well, 25 to 30 second gap. It's Ralph Arella who we need to focus on, as Lucas is coming up to La Source. Arella is right at the end of the pit lane, still standing there. Lucas goes past, Peter Bacchus goes past, and Arella gets going now. That will be quite close with Pavel Niri, I think, but he gets out in front as we see him accelerating there down to Eau Rouge and Radillon. And here's Jim Britton coming out of the pits in 6th spot, so he has gained some spots with some good strategy calls and good consistent driving in the Porsche 911. So, status update. We have Robert Horvat in the front. P1 for him once again at the moment. Vlastimir Lucas is 22 seconds behind. He is trailed by Peter Bacchus, a 3.4 second behind. 4 seconds behind him is Ralph Arella. Then we have another 4 seconds to Pavel Niri. Then we have Jim Britton, 12 seconds behind him. And then 6 seconds to Nemanja Manojlovic. Petr Pek as well, 6 seconds behind. And now we have a nice battle with Badcock, Haas and David Dore. That will be one to watch here in the final stages of this endurance race. And we have Moravec in 12th position, Ludomir Nietzsche in 13th, then Morten Roslev in 14th and Stefan Riedel in 15th position, Jas Forsberg in 16th, Simon Fillingham in 17th. He is about 9 seconds off a points scoring position. Let's see if he can make it up there to score some points together with his teammate Ralph Arella. Thomas Struhar in 18th, Ross Hockey in 19th position, 3 seconds behind Struhar. And then we have Aaron May and Nikolai Hartup, the teammates, in 20th and 21st position. Back to that battle with David Dore, Max Haas and Daniel Badcock, who has made a bit of a gap to these guys in front. Petr Pek is not too far in front either, so it's a 4-way battle for 8th position. It is very nice to see that we have, I think, 19 drivers, with Ross Hockey as the last one, still on the lead lap. Let's see. I think he should be in front of Robert Horvat. Yes, indeed, he is going through Eau Rouge now. So 19 drivers still on the lead lap after more than 1 hour of racing. That's very nice indeed. It's only Hartop and May who are a lap down. Those are the last ones of the running cars, except for the non-finishers, of course. So very nice indeed, as David Dore is now really starting to attack Max Haas. Oh, Max Haas making a bit of a Verstappen move like in Monza, squeezing David to the outside, to the left of the track, but they could keep it clean. That will motivate David Dore to try and get past as soon as possible and as clean as possible. I don't think it was a on-purpose dirty move by Max. He has proven to be a fair and fast driver. Very nice run there by David. Very composed, not too much sliding or going over those curbs. David is being held up. He's being held back here by Max, but can make his car very, very wide. Make it difficult for people to pass him. Robert Horvat at the front is managing the gap. I think it's 23 seconds. It has been more, but he's just taking off those laps with 17 minutes left in this race. Can David make the move? Once again he goes to the left side. Now Max leaves a bit more space. David turns it in and he makes the pass stick. Yes indeed. So that looks like Max had left quite some space there, because I didn't expect David to turn in that early. But nice move by David. He has Daniel Badcock not too far up the road. Now he has to prove that he had the pace to be quicker than Max and get up to Daniel Badcock, or will Max be able to get back past? At least he had a nicer line through Eau Rouge and Radion for Max Haas, but not close enough to get into the slipstream. I think he will have to stay behind for the braking zone. Simon Fillingham is up to P17, and as I said, he was 9 seconds down on a point scoring position, and that's not the case anymore. He is now within a second of Jas Forsberg, and Stefan Riedel is only 3 seconds up the road. So can Simon Fillingham get into the points, and can Jas Forsberg manage to get past Stefan Riedel? In front of him it's a 10-second gap, so that's a bit ambitious in 15 minutes, but it is possible. We have I think Aran May in front there, and then we have Stefan Riedel in front of Simon Fillingham. So let's see what these guys can do. Let's keep an eye on that. Petr Pek is here down in 8th position. Manojlovic is in 7th position, so a great team result for them. I think the best team results are for Peter Bakus and Emina Manojlovic, and then Petr Pek and Vlastimir Lukas. Getting some good points for their team. Just having a look through the teams. Daniel Badcock and David Doria are teammates. Sorry, I did not spot that or know that. So let's follow up on that battle and see if they will switch positions or just keep it status quo. Oh, here's Fillingham and Forsberg going through Blanchimont side by side. Great respect between these two drivers, and then Fillingham cuts across to the left, which was a bit weird because he has to stay behind now. If he had stayed on the left, he would probably have been able to defend for that position. Of course, still 13 minutes to go for him, but what they need to focus on is Stefan Riedel, and he is running away from them at the moment as they are battling so hard. 4.2 seconds in front of Jas Forsberg now, so they need to decide what the priority is, 16th and 17th spot, or if they want to get that 1 point for this race. Once again, Fillingham now on the outside line, and he gets past before the braking zone. Yes, he can. So he is past Jas Forsberg. Now we will have to see what will be happening. Oh, Fillingham going wide and rejoining very close, but he loses his hard fought position once again. This race has flown past. We only have 12 more minutes to go. So time is running out for the likes of Bakus. He still has a 4-second gap to make up on Lucas for second spot. That will probably not happen. We have Aurela 1.7 seconds behind Bakus. That is still up for grabs, that third and final podium spot. Petr Pek and Manojlovic are also close, but not as close. This is the closest battle on track at the moment. Once again, has Fillingham learned from the last lap, and will he stay on the inside line for the chicane braking zone? If he can get past, of course, if he can get close enough, which he doesn't, so we'll have to get a good run out of the chicane and make a move maybe into La Source or on the Camel Straight. And Fillingham and Forsberg, they have Robert Horvat right behind him. Right a couple of seconds behind them, so that can start to play a role for these guys. This is the situation for the top 5. Horvat in front, and then we see these 3 drivers here. We have Lucas, Bakus and Aurela, and then Niri a little bit further back. Britain is in 60s, 12 seconds behind. And then Manojlovic in 7th spot. Fillingham is not giving up, but they keep losing time to Stefan Riedl. 5 seconds is the gap in front now, so chance is big that these guys will not be getting any points, and that's a bit unexpected, I must say. Oh, making the dummy move there, but not fooling Jas Forsberg for now. So fatigue will also start to play a role. These drivers are used to run sprint races, 60-minute races here at RRL. So a 95-minute race is not something that happens very often. Simon Fillingham gets a good run out of Stavilo. He is in front now. Will he keep to the left side? A bit of braking by Forsberg, so he's firmly in front for the braking zone. So Fillingham takes that position now. He has to make sure to not throw it back away, because they have Thomas Struhar in the background, not too far behind, and then we have Robert Horvat behind them. So he will start to play a role in about 2 laps. When we have 5 more minutes to go, he will be there to make his lapping maneuvers to spice up this battle even more. And speaking of fatigue, that counts for the drivers, but also for the commentator's voice. So still 8 minutes and an outro to go for me as well. Oh, having a look. Jas braking late, but Fillingham is just able to turn it in. Very nice indeed. And they are also lapping traffic, Fillingham and Forsberg. That must be May or Hartup in front. Oh, that's a crash, yes. I think it's May who got a bit sideways, and Robert Horvat is lucky to not be involved in that incident. It's May or Hartup. Let's see who it is. No, it's Aaron May who got a bit sideways there coming out of Brussels because he was offline trying to let Fillingham past, and well, Fillingham was already passed, but Forsberg could not avoid the big tank slapper by Aaron May, so that's him out of this battle and down to 18th position. So now Fillingham is on his own and on a mission, 7 minutes to gain 5.5 seconds on Stefan Riedl. Let's see if he can make that happen. The teammates David Dore and Daniel Badcock for 9th and 10th position. Let's see if they have any team orders or they just start battling it out in the next few minutes. The lead gap up to 27 seconds. Let's have a quick look. Robert Horvat got past Struhar already, but next one is Simon Fillingham. The gap down to 4 seconds to Stefan Riedl, so something to watch out for. Great sounds there by the Audis. Ralph Arella is in close racing, says the broadcast application, and yes, he is. Getting past Aaron May, I'm suspecting. So will Arella get a podium spot? He is battling with Robert Horvat for the #1 driver's ranking position. Arella has been at the top for a very long period of time since the introduction of that ranking system. But we have Horvat winning here and Arella only taking 4th or maybe 3rd. So that swings the balance back in favor of Horvat. He has the disadvantage of having 2 bad results in, I think it's WTCC races. And, well, almost getting well out of shape there for Arella. But he keeps it together. The tires are starting to get worn, as we suspected. So yeah, if you have a bad result, you carry that with you for 20 races, as every time the 21st race is discarded from the calculation. So Horvat will have to set some good results in these races to be able to dethrone Ralph Arella from the #1 ranking championship. David Doyer still behind his teammate. We have 3 minutes to go. Where is Robert Horvat? He's at the end of the first well, coming out of Bruxelles. So that's probably this lap, and then the next lap will be the last lap. Most probably, yes indeed. So we have only 1.5 laps of racing still to go. Arella 1 second behind Peter Bacchus. We have Fillingham closing the gap down to 2 seconds. We have Stefan Riedel in the shot now and Robert Horvat right behind them. This will be interesting. I don't have any background information on Riedel. I do know Fillingham quite well. Quite convinced he will handle the lapping of Robert Horvat in the best way possible, but does Riedel have a lot of experience with that? He seems to be quite quick, but that's not a guarantee. So it could be an opportunity for Fillingham to get a pass done in the last lap of the race, because we have 2 minutes to go and a 2-minute and 20-second lap to complete. So starting the last lap for Robert Horvat. Just very quickly going to Jim Britton. He is behind Pavel Neri, but that's not going to cause any big position changes. David Doorn is still behind his teammate, but let's have a look here. It doesn't always need to be the front runners. Sometimes even battling for 1 point or no points can be very interesting. Robert just showing that he's there, that he would like to get through. It's not absolutely necessary for him. He has a 30-second gap, but still, you don't want to risk being behind another driver that can make a mistake and take you out if you or should be allowed to just pass him. Fillingham now very, very close, 0.7 of a second behind Riedel. This will be a tough call. Riedel is quite slow out of Bruxelles and a bit wide through Pouhon. Can Fillingham put his nose up the inside? No, he can't yet. So at some point here he will have to let Robert Horvat by. Ralph Arella meantime is 0.5 behind Peter Bacchus. Let's have a quick look, and Jim Britton is 7/10 down on Neri, so all hell is breaking loose. This here is the closest battle, and oh, Fillingham! Small collision there with Stefan Riedel, and he gets past, and that's what I said. Robert Horvat was right behind him, and he's very, very lucky to not be involved in that incident in some way. He could just continue and not lose time, but this could have meant a massive time loss for Robert, and possibly his win taken away at the very, very last moment. So, as Fillingham will not be passing Riedel by the end of this lap, we go to the battle for the last podium spot. We have Robert Horvat taking the win here at Spa at the endurance round, and he is very, very happy with that. We have Vlastimir Lukas taking second position, very nice result for him. And then will it be Peter Backus taking third position? It does seem like it if he can keep it together through the chicane. Yes, indeed, so third and fourth spot for Backus and Arella. And Pavel Neri being hounded down by Jim Britton, very close at the end of this last stint and the 95-minute race. But Neri will keep it together as well on the power, and fifth spot is his, with Jim Britton setting a very nice sixth place result. Then we have Nemanja Manojlovic crawling his way back up to P7 after an incident in the opening stages of the race. Petr Pek in 8th position, also a good drive from him. Daniel Badcock and his teammate David Dore will take 9th and 10th position. Good driving by them. Max Haas will finish in 11th. He had some good action in this race, but dropped back at some point. But still, 11th is not bad at all. Then we have Pavel Moravec taking 12th position. Ludobir Nietzsche in 13th spot. He will finish. Then Morten Roslev in 14th. Stefan Riedel, as we saw, taking the last of the points paying positions. Simon Fillingham in 16th spot. Thomas Struhar in 17th. Jas Forsberg in 18th. Ross Hockey in 19th position, and then Aaron May in 20th, and his teammate Nikolai Hartub in 21st position. Albertini, Kolb, Kirley and Ortiz did not finish this endurance race. So that is it. Checkered flag after 95 minutes of racing around Spa-Francorchamps. A good step for Robert Horvat to make it a real challenge for Backus to take that championship. And here are the results: 24 seconds between Horvat and Lucas. Backus 28 seconds behind, with Arella right behind. And a very nice result and variety of cars here on this race results page. It was very nice commentating this race for our league, RRLeagues.com. If you want to join us, just head on over to our website or Google us. You will find YouTube, Facebook, Twitter pages, and of course our website, where you can sign up on our forum as well to start getting to know the community and what we do in terms of racing series. So I hope you did enjoy this stream. Make sure to subscribe, and you will be notified of any future streams or videos that come out in this RR Leagues channel. In 2 weeks' time we will stay in Belgium. As I said, we will go to Zolder for a 60-minute race, if I'm not mistaken. So stay tuned and join us again in 2 weeks, if you're not already well, having a talk with one of our members on the forums by then to get racing in our next series, or if you want to get a nice spot in the FR2, DTM, WTCC or this series, you can still sign up and be on the waiting list if any drivers would drop out before the race. It's always possible for any reserve drivers to join our races. So thank you and good night. See you in 2 weeks time at Zolder.